I did a fairly thorough first view couple of videos actually, because this thing's got so much functionality. One video just simply wasn't enough. And really, I don't want to kind of go over that too much, but I will just sort of use that as a bit of a prompt, just so I don't get lost, and just to make sure that I actually show you all the cool stuff that this thing can do. And really, just to sort of backtrack, the reason behind this piece of software, and you know, I think that's the most important thing about the stuff that we do. There's always a reason. You know, we're not just churning out software, you know, release after release for the heck of it. We're actually producing software that it fills a void in our marketing ourselves. It does stuff that we want to do, and I know you know, both Lee and Gloria, we've all been kind of, when we've been chatting over the last month or two as we've been developing this, it's like, God, we've got to hurry up and get this done because I really need to get using it for this project or whatever. So it's really cool that we're finally there with it. And actually, the driving force behind this has been the fact that we've had loads of people coming through on support and just kind of getting out to us, reaching out to us and saying, you know, I've had loads of software from you, it's really great. The problem is, you know, I've got all these connections, and what do I do with them now? And you know, that's what we need to solve. That's really the final piece of the puzzle is, you know, we've got all these connections, we've got cool tools that do that. You know, Hero and Social Media handsomely will build you a very solid network on LinkedIn. The final piece of the puzzle is to actually do some marketing with these people. And that's exactly what we're going to do. That's exactly what we've been doing. In fact, I believe there's a few people on the webinar tonight that have actually come through as a direct result of being marketed to by autoNgage. So I hope, you know, for those guys that are, you can really kind of appreciate this thing actually works because you're sat there because of it. So I think that's pretty powerful. That's pretty good proof if ever there was some. So, you know, the short answer to how do you market to people on LinkedIn is, well, you know, send them offers, send them messages, send stuff through to them, and try and, you know, get meetings, send them to websites, whatever it is you need to do to sell your stuff. Then you know, you've got to reach out and actually contact them, and that's actually a fairly straightforward thing to do, albeit a little bit clunky if you want to do it en masse, but. It's just like, you know, it's just like offline networking. It's just like any sales out there. If you walk into a store or you know, you've got an appointment with somebody, if the first thing they do is just bundle a sales brochure into your hand and start trying to take down your credit card details, you're probably not going to be that interested in actually buying the thing off them there. And then you've got questions. You need to know who you're buying from. There's, you know. You can't do, it's not the 1970s anymore. You can't go out doing that hard sell stuff and expect it to work really, really well. So you've got to build rapport with people, and you've got to build a bit of friendship. You've got to show some interest, and that's going to get reciprocated. And the way to do that is just by engaging with them, by actually showing that interest. So really, that's what the first element of the software does. And I'm actually going to use the basic version of autoNgage. We've two versions that are going out now. I mean, for some people, they just don't need the features of the second one, which is why we've done this. And actually, you know, by itself, the basic version is an amazingly powerful tool, regardless, and will, you know, drive a lot of inquiries or whatever. So I'm just going to bring that straight in and kind of run through that and exactly what that does. And what I'll do is at the same time I'll just sort of demonstrate on LinkedIn directly exactly what you can go away to do and do this manually, because, you know, again, this isn't just you know, we've dreamt this software up. This is the stuff that, you know, I used to pay my outsourcer to do this. I know people that sit there and, God forbid, actually do this stuff themselves manually every single day. You can do that. I mean, if you're tight for cash, if you've got time on your hands, if you know you want to get up early or you want to work late and do an extra couple of hours on the end of each day to do this stuff, well, that's cool. You can do that, and, you know, before long, I'm sure you'll have business coming in, and so you've got turnover, you've got cash there to actually, you know, delegate that task and either buy software or pay somebody to sit there and do it. So you can do this stuff manually. So the first thing I brought that And now this is what the software looks like, and you'll see there's kind of 4 main tasks there that we've automated that are fairly crucial to improving your profile, building engagement, building rapport with people, and putting yourself in a position to actually be able to do that, do the selling. So the first thing is making endorsements. If I just bring LinkedIn in over here, that's quite handy. I was actually going to show this later on, but seeing as it's up, I just wanted to, I did show this on one of the first few graphs the other day, but I just wanted to bring this back in with a little bit of an update. This is one of my LinkedIn accounts, and as you can see, I was busy developing from the middle of November through to the middle of December, and we had a nice big jump in the graph there, and that kind of peaked right there in the middle of December. 2 weeks, I pretty much went off the grid. I didn't do any work on the computer. I didn't do anything really. I just forgot about it. And actually, despite doing nothing, there was still a little bit of activity going on there. And that was just, it rolled on off the back of that work. We've got back in, after the holidays, which do seem a long time ago now, and boom, obviously it's climaxed this week, where it's actually peaked higher than any other week, recently. And it's directly off the back of me using this software. Nothing else, plain and simple, is the software doing all that stuff. I've been busy developing it, so that's, I haven't been able to do this stuff manually anyway. So it works. Anyway, let's actually look at the stuff that it does for you. So the first thing is endorsements. Now, I've had some fairly heated debates with people about this whole endorsement thing, because it's kind of a bit, it's probably not ended up panning out how LinkedIn intended it to be. I think LinkedIn sort of intended it to be kind of a softer, quicker, easier thing to do than actually give a proper recommendation. Where in actual fact, what it's ended up being is just a way of showing that you're showing some interest in somebody, and just kind of vouching for them if they're saying that they can do something. You're taking them at face value and saying, okay, I've acknowledged that you can do that thing, you've got that skill, and really that's how it's actually used these days. And so obviously, that being the case, we don't really want to sit there doing that manually. I'm just going to jump into my connections, and I'm going to find somebody to endorse. So this is how you go about it. You'd dive into your connections. You'd find somebody there to go and endorse. I'm actually going to endorse my friend Chris, because he's from my home city and he's just been nominated for an Oscar, which I'm quite proud of him for. He's a very good filmmaker. So he definitely deserves an endorsement. And you would go into the profile, and as you can see up at the top, this little box appears, and you can go right ahead and you can click endorse. And that's it, really. It's quite simple to do. It's just a little bit time consuming. Now, the nice thing about this is, if you do this for somebody, what happens is LinkedIn is going to send them an email to say, hi Chris, guess what, Mike's endorsed you for the skills that you've done. So it's a really good way of keeping in touch with people, and obviously, again, it's a good way of building rapport. You're showing an interest, you're endorsing them, you're vouching for them. There's loads of good emotions, loads of good sales psychology going on just by clicking that one button. So that's pretty cool. I guess off the endorsing stuff in testing, I was probably getting 2 or 3 leads a day just in testing from that. And if you've got a big network, you can do that all day long quite easily, and show a lot of interest in people. Obviously, that's not what we want to do, because it's manual and we've got better things to do, like actually doing some business. So all you would do is you would open up autoNgage Basic or Pro, because there's tabs in there as well. You'd tick that to say you want to do that stuff, and you just tell it how many to do. I've purposefully capped that at 300. Actually, that is a little bit excessive, but I've put that there because if you're only going to run this line once a week or a couple of times a week, then that's probably cool. 300's reasonable. On a daily basis, just as a kind of rule of thumb, I tend to do about 100 to 200 a day. Sort of weekdays, business days. I maybe do some over the weekend as well. But more than 300 in one go, you're probably going to start raising some eyebrows. So you don't need to go that mental about it. Okay. Another really cool way to show a bit of interest in people and drive a bit of engagement is to is to like the post that they've written. So that's the next task on the list. So I'll show you how you can do that manually. Again, it's pretty straightforward. It's just time consuming. You've got to go in there and actually do this thing. So let's have a look. What you would do is if you go to your home page of LinkedIn. It's a little bit slow for me this evening. It's probably because we're streaming this webinar. So as soon as that comes up, and for those of you that aren't familiar with this area of LinkedIn, LinkedIn Pulse is kind of like, it's almost like a little website, a little news website within the website, and it's really cool because based on the stuff that you like in the groups that you're in, stuff on your profile, LinkedIn uses Pulse to recommend personalised news that's bang on the money for your industry and what you're doing. So that's great. It's a great way of meeting people. I mean, it's a great way of doing the your ongoing personal development and that kind of thing as well. You know, it's how I keep in touch with what's going on in tech and social media and all that kind of stuff. And you know, there's some really cool posts going on here. So, I mean, outside of the software and all the stuff that we're talking about tonight, if you're not already checking this out, you ought to do, because it will keep you abreast of stuff, and it's a cool thing. But for the purposes of this, we just want to kind of reach out to these people, and they've taken the time to write some, I mean, in some cases, some really, really good media. Just by virtue of the fact that it's been recommended to you, it's going to be good quality. So a great way of engaging with them is to just come down into here and go ahead and click the little thumbs up and give them a like. And again, that does a few things. It sends them email notifications potentially. If they've got lots of them, it maybe throttle them. But if there isn't that many going on, they will get a notification that you've liked it, which is great. I mean, I put a few posts out occasionally. It's very encouraging. You know, if you have put some work into it, to see that people are liking your stuff, so that's cool. And obviously you go and check those people out and you look into them as well. So it's a great way of driving traffic to your profile, whilst at the same time encouraging people to keep generating really good content, which, you know, that's what we want at the end of the day. It's free. You can just go and read this stuff. I mean, how cool is that? The other really nice benefit of doing this as well is very often the stuff that you like will show up in your timeline as well. So in terms of adding credibility, when people see that you're liking these kind of articles that have already been, you know, they're getting shared, people like this stuff, it's interesting, it just elevates your own credibility as well, because, you know, well, obviously if Mike's liking this stuff and that stuff's really cool, that just shows that Mike likes really cool stuff, which is definitely how I want people to perceive me. So we can go through and do that, or again, we could just tick the box and it'll take care of all that stuff for us as well. Next up then, we've got profile viewing. Now, this is a strategy that I've been using for a long time, and it's stupidly powerful in terms of driving new connections in that are outside of your network that otherwise probably wouldn't have connected with you, of actually getting people to say, let's connect with me. And actually, I don't know if we've put them up on the sales page yet. I haven't checked, but I know I've had 3 leads this week just from the profile viewing. Literally, people have sent me connection requests saying, I'd like to talk to you more about what you do. I noticed that you viewed my profile. It's a very powerful way of doing that. And actually, what I've done with regards to software is, instead of just getting within the network that we've got, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've got an extended network of close to 30 million. That's pretty good reach. That's probably most of the people that are on there. But getting access to them can be a little bit tricky with the way that LinkedIn search works and all the rest of it. So what I've done in this respect is I've created a certain Google search footprint to allow us to specify a keyword or targeting or pretty much anything. I'll cover that in a minute, and actually go out to Google and use the power of a Google search to find suitable profiles for us to then go and view. So for example, within the targeting, I could put in New York. That's going to provide me a lot of people in the New York area across all sorts of different industries. I could put in a finance director if I wanted to do that. I could put in real estate. I could put in real estate Miami. I can get very, 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 very specific, or I can go quite broad. It really opens up some huge power, because I mean, at the end of the day, if you're going to harness the power of a search engine, it might as well be Google, right? And that's exactly what we've done with this. So essentially all this does is a clever Google search, finds a ton of profiles that match your targeting, which you'd enter up here. So I'm going to go in there and put in lead generation, because that's certainly good for people who are into lead generation, are interested in this software. That would go and find a load of lead. You know, I could tag UK onto that if I wanted. I could tag Australia onto that if I wanted. I can get really specific if I can type, that is. Apologies to anybody in from Australia. And then literally all it will do is, whilst logged into LinkedIn, it'll then go off and click through and view that profile, and it'll sit there for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 8 seconds. It does a little random thing. It stays there long enough for that to register, because what's going to happen is that's going to register up. Potentially it's going to get in the email notifications. But most importantly, when I come through and look at the who's viewed your profile, I'm going to show up in there. So I've got a lovely little, you know, look at all these guys have been looking at me. Again, all right, I can go and check these people out and see what they're doing. Interestingly, a lot of the people that are looking back at me are the people that I've been watching. I've been getting the bot to go and view as well. So it's kind of a two-way thing. But I mean, the thing with the profile viewing is it's really, really effective, but really, really time-consuming. Because you can't just click onto the page really quickly. You do have to let them load properly. You do have to let LinkedIn realise that you're checking them out. So again, it's really not something that you'd want to do manually unless you need some way of automating it for sure. So that's exactly what you get with this. You would tick that, and boom, you can put that in. I mean, really, I only put these lower numbers in for people to kind of play around with and have a test with. Generally speaking, I'd do at least 100 or 250 views at any given time. I might even run that twice a day, as long as you don't go over sort of 400 or 500 in a day. You're not going to upset anybody. What you are going to get is a boatload of new connection requests coming through from people who have checked you out and want to connect with you. So it's very, very powerful and very engaging as well, because when we go on to talk about some of the messaging stuff that the Pro version can do, you'll see how this kind of all fits together really, really nicely. Okay, so if that wasn't enough, the final... sorry,
Mike, let me sort of clarify something, because I've got a couple of questions that kind of lead up to this.
Oh, okay.
You know, when you gave me the beta version of this and I started running it, which I've only had time to run 2 or 3 times, I noticed that the number of people who were asking if they could connect with me, in other words, my invites just shot up.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
So, some people were saying, well, do they have to have big networks already in order for the software to benefit them? I think really the answer, especially when you explained it with the Google footprint and all that stuff, the answer is no, because the software is not just going to your first-tier connections. The software is not, it will even go, if I'm understanding you correctly, it will even go and find people that you have 0 connection with. That are totally outside of your network. It will view their profile. They're going to wonder who you are and say, and if it's a match, they're going to read your profile and say, wow, that's pretty cool. I think I want to connect with that guy. And so in other words, this will build your connections really very rapidly.
It will, and also it does it because it's a very reactive. All the other tools that we've used in the past are quite proactive. They go out there and they actively send connection requests. They try, they reach out to people. It's a lot more subtle, and actually the inbound connection request, the sort of semi-warm leads anyway, that they're wanting to connect with you because they've got a genuine interest just off the back of viewing your profile. So you've already warmed them up, and again, if you've spent some time on your profile and you've groomed that to fit well with whatever it is your outcome is, whatever it is you're wanting to sell, I mean, that's stupidly powerful way of getting somebody inbound. And like I say, when we talk about some of the features of the messaging, and you see how that then fits together, you'll understand in a blink why just in testing, I'm getting like 6, 7, 8 leads a day coming through my LinkedIn account. I'm not even trying. I'm getting that many people contacting me. It's just, I mean, it's crazy. To be honest, I ain't had the time to go back to them properly, and that's like such a sin. But I will do that over the weekend. But anyway, it's a good problem to have. It's better than no leads, right?
Absolutely. I was shocked. I ran it one time. I checked LinkedIn the next day. I thought, wow, 6 people, inviting. I thought, man, that's kind of crazy, because usually it's like 1 or 2, because I've been so busy like you. I haven't really had time since Christmas to do anything. The only thing that I did was run that software, I think once or twice before I got the 6, and I had more today. So excellent. We got a few other questions, guys. Mark and Mike, those are great questions to save for Q&A, so if you don't mind us doing that, let's move forward.
Okay. Well, we're nearly there with this side of it. I mean, there is just such a ton of functionality to get through with this stuff, so I am kind of going as quickly as I can.
Yeah, that's cool.
It does a lot. So yeah, the last big thing, and actually, I mean, this is, I'm sure, Lee, you'll have had the almost instantaneous results that the congratulating element gets, because this is engagement at its very best, and LinkedIn have done a great job in facilitating this for us, because this, you couldn't always do this, and very simply, again, you can go do this stuff manually if you really want to do. You log into your LinkedIn. If you come to connections, there's this option for keep in touch, and if you give that a click, sorry, my internet is running very slow tonight. Okay, when that drops down, boom, there we go. And what LinkedIn actually does, it's got a very clever algorithm in it that's constantly checking through your connections and looking for opportunities for you to reach out and keep in touch with them. Because, I mean, I've got, 4,000 connections. It's pretty hard to keep in touch properly with 4,000 people and know when their birthdays are, know if they've got a new job, all that stuff. So this function is just awesome, and it's getting people right at a moment where they're open to engagement. There's something to talk about, right? I mean, that's the hardest thing in engagement, and certainly, I mean, it's not so bad for me. I've been, in dealing with customers, selling, and all that sort of thing my whole life. So I can have a talk with myself in a lift. It's not a problem. I can talk all day. But for some people, just getting the conversation going can be pretty difficult. And actually, this has allowed us to automate that and actually automate getting conversations going, which is just bang on the money. And it's as simple as, it just gives you this whole list of stuff to do. So you can, you can come in here and say congratulations. That's going to pop that up. He's got a new job. Okay, I'm going to do that. I'll actually do it. And as you can see, it's a little bit clunky, but you can come in here and you can sit and spend 20 minutes or half an hour every day, and do quite a few of these and get it through. I mean, the problem being, if you have got a big network, I'm just kind of clicking down there, and I've been using the software, so it's been doing that. There's quite a lot of clicking to do there. But I'll I mean, let me just pull up my messages real quick, because we're going to come back to this properly anyway. But when this opens up, it's just a little bit slow. I mean, 465 messages. I cleaned those out coming back after the holidays. I've just let them sit there. So I've had pretty much 500 inbound messages well, I didn't come back to work until the 6th. So we've had a couple of weeks realistically of proper work, and I've had about 500 contacts. I mean, that's pretty funky, if you ask me. It's not bad at all. So there we go. I mean, again, you can set the numbers on this. 50 a day is fairly conservative. Again, it depends on the size of your network. If you've got a really big one, do 100, do 200. If you've got quite a small network, I mean, obviously go and check out Social Media and LinkedIn Hero, sort that out. But if you have, you probably don't want to be going much over 25 or 50 a day, because you'll just end up it'll end up running out of stuff, and it just actually won't get through a full cycle of that anyway. So it's entirely up to you how you do that. So you'd come in here. I mean, again, as you've seen, I've just been going through enabling all those. That allows you to really customize a campaign, and obviously we'll get on if you maybe don't want to do the post liking thing, or maybe you want to skip the profile viewing stuff, or maybe the endorsements thing don't kind of fit with what you're trying to do. So you can be really selective. If I wanted, I can just do the post liking, the profile viewing. I can get rid of the congratulations. Just going to skip that out. So you can be very tailored, and obviously you can set the actual volumes for each one. So, and it can be different every day if you want. There's no hard and fast rule. You can use this tool exactly how you need to get the result that you want. So it's got that flexibility built in. And again, I mean, obviously, if you're targeting different things with your profile viewing, you might just want to run that, once in the morning, once in the night, something like that. You can do that, and you can change the targeting. And get a different result, all round. So once you've decided what tasks you want to do, and you've set that, you put a keyword in, it is just simply a case of, getting into typing in your LinkedIn credentials, and boom, process the tasks. I won't run it right now because the internet is running slow enough, and I want to get on and show you the other side of it before we run out of time. But just to show you how it kind of looks once it gets running. I'll click on the process tasks. The little loading icon pops up there. It tells you what it's doing. Okay. I set it to do no tasks, so all it's going to do is log into LinkedIn, and it just gives me that little pop up there that's completed it in the time that it did it. So there we go. That's the engagement stuff taken care of. Now, by running that every day, you're going to build good rapport up, you're going to get more connections, you're going to really warm people up and put yourself in a position to start doing some proper marketing and actually sending some promotional messages out. Now, obviously, you can post that directly to your timeline. The problem with that, do that. Obviously, if you're trying to sell something, by all means do that. I'm just going to exit this, and I'm going to pull up my other one just as a little bit of a prompt there. There's no reason why you can't. Let's just get back to LinkedIn quickly. You can come into your homepage if you're trying to sell something. You've got an offer on. You've got a special that you're doing. You want to get people to go and visit your website. There's no reason at all why you can't just come right up in here and type it in. Hey, I've got something to sell. I can do that. I'm not going to post that because people think everybody. I guess people will say, "We know, Mike. You keep telling us." The problem with it is very quickly, and I'm just going to scroll down here. That stuff just doesn't stand out that well. It will get some traffic if you've got a big network and you've written it well. You'll get a few people clicking through. If you're tagging that along with something like like a meme that we showed guys who were into the meme dog product, and that can work pretty well, and that's quite a nice way of doing it. But in the grand scheme of things, the most effective way is to literally proactively go and market to people, and that's exactly what the Pro version allows you to do, and it allows you to do it in a few different ways. And really, that is the final piece of the LinkedIn puzzle for anybody who's looking to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that in now. So you've got, it's a more advanced tool. The thing here we've got to remember is not everybody needs all these tools, and that's really why we want to make this accessible to people that, if they've got a thing going already as far as the promotional stuff is, hey, you might be running LinkedIn adverts or whatever, but the engagement stuff's really cool and you want to do that. Well, you don't need to spend more money and get a Pro version, you just have the basic version. However, if you're serious about actively marketing to people and building relationships and building sales, then it may well be that some of these extra features are exactly what you need, in fact, to achieve those goals. So when you open up the Pro version, there's a few extra bits here straight away. All engagement stuff, that's exactly the same as the basic version. It's just there in a little tab that you can access. All that stuff we just talked about, you can just run through that and do that. Where the main difference sort of kind of comes in this one, though, is when I click through to this tab, which is the Send Messages tab. And really, I mean, this just takes your LinkedIn marketing to a whole nother level. I mean, this stuff is crazy effective. Like I say, I know for a fact some of you guys sat listening to me talk right now are here as a result of the fact of me running this on my own account and actually inviting you to join us this evening on this training, on this webinar. So, you know, it definitely works. I mean, why wouldn't it, right? I've built a relationship. I put good content out. You know, it makes sense that people are going to want to listen to what I've got to say and check out the stuff that I'm doing. Now, there's a few ways you can do messaging on LinkedIn, and I just wanted to make sure that I covered them all for people, so that if you're going to be using this tool, it's kind of a Swiss Army knife for messaging on LinkedIn. Because the problem with LinkedIn is, I'm just going to get rid of this actually. I'm just going to pull LinkedIn up now. The problem with messaging on LinkedIn is it's pretty clunky. And especially when you get a fairly big network, it becomes really, really clunky. And I guess, you know, obviously LinkedIn aren't really over the moon about you abusing their messaging system to spam people. And I'm not suggesting that anybody, you know, getting this software should do that. I mean, if you choose to, yeah, it's capable of doing that. You know, it's just like anything. In the wrong hands, I guess, you know, it could be abused and people could use it the wrong way. I don't suggest you do that. I suggest you use it the right way. You build relationships and you make selective approaches to selling stuff that people are, you know, it's reasonable to assume they might have an interest in. You know, I aren't going to send all my accountant friends a special offer about, you know, something that's just like way out of left field, some, you know, horse thing or dog thing or fitness thing that, you know, they might be interested, they might not, but anybody could be interested. You know, however, if I've got a recommendation about a piece of accounting software that they might find interesting, that's totally cool to send that to them and say, you know, check that out, you might find it interesting. And if I make some affiliate commission out of that or something, or some direct profit, well, you know, that's not a bad thing, is it, by any stretch of the imagination. So there's a few ways you can do messaging. The first one, and really this is extremely powerful, and you'll find if you've been on LinkedIn, you'll find people doing this manually. I'm going to kind of get into the habit of replying to them guys now and saying, by the way, thanks for the email, but you can automate that. You should be doing something better with your time. And it's kind of, this happens loads on Instagram and particularly big time on Twitter. You know, where it's very follower driven. You get a lot of followers, people, oh, thanks for following me, why don't you check out my Facebook, or, you know, I really appreciate you following me. It's kind of like bread and butter. It happens all the time, to the point that people have gone totally blind to it. It doesn't happen as yet on LinkedIn at all very much. Occasionally, if you're connecting with a lot of people, somebody will take the time to reach out and say, oh, thanks for connecting, do you fancy actually doing some business together? It's very, very, I'm talking like 1 in 100, 2 in 100. It's a very small percentage of people actually bother to pursue the connections that they've got. And I mean, this is, if you're doing anything remotely B2B, this is, you know, people are out there networking. That's kind of like turning up to paying a load of money to go to a chamber dinner, a local chamber of commerce, and just sitting there and not talking to anybody, just collecting their business cards and doing nothing with it. I mean, it would just be crazy. So the first way, and again, it's about getting the conversation going, but if somebody's actually bothered to send you a connection request or accept yours, I mean, they've got to click a button to make that happen. It's a little bit different to kind of the Twitter scenario where it is just, you know, they've clicked follow. There's no real thought process behind it. It's just let's get loads more followers, whereas LinkedIn, it's a little bit more, you know, they'll look at your profile, they'll actually consider, you know, whether or not to bother connecting with you. So if they have, and you then take the time to reach out to them and thank them for that, then, you know, I mean, you're going to get amazing responses, and particularly if you've been using the profile viewer and these are reciprocating people that are coming in and, you know, they're finding you in return of you finding them. If you then drop them a new connection mail, trust me, it goes absolutely berserk. I mean, I did a very small send the other day to some of my new connections, and instantly, as soon as the message dropped, within 2 or 3 minutes, I had 2 people contacting me asking me if I would go and do some consulting for them on a big social media project that they're looking to work on. I mean, it's just madness. It was as simple as that. So that's new connections mode. Now, just again, I always like to show people how this can be done manually if you really, really want to. You don't have to buy our software. We're just trying to make life easier for people to get done what they need to get done. But you can do this stuff manually. If all you've got to invest is your time, then there's no reason why you can't do this manually. So there's a bit of a trick to it. So it's a little bit of a golden nugget there. But what you need to do is it's a bit difficult to find your new connections unless you know where to look. I mean, obviously you could kind of go back through your connections and try and figure out who it was and all that kind of thing and how recently they're connected with you. You could do it that way, or the other way is if you come and actually click onto your profile, once this loads up, there we go. Now, normally, if I just sort of scroll down here, it's my view of it. This is where I can go in and edit the stuff that I've got on, on my profile. However, if I click this button here, View Profile As, what that's going to do is, there we go. This is how my profile looks to my connection. So if any of you guys out there now go and look me up on LinkedIn, which incidentally, if we're not connected, please do send me a connection request. I'd be more than happy to add you to my network. Just be warned, you might get a new connection email thanking you for doing that. If I now scroll down, there's going to be a whole new area on here. There we go, keep coming down. More recommendations, boom, there we go, connections. And this is basically telling the world who all my connections are, which is awesome. But what we got here is new, and it's just a really quick and easy way of seeing who all your new connections are. And again, if you're going to do this manually, you could do this, view your profile as you click on your new connections, and you can go in here and you could one at a time just literally click on it. Once it loads up, I do apologise for my slow internet this evening. We live in a quite rural area, and sometimes on an evening it can be a bit clunky, especially when the kids are probably in the other room watching movies and stuff like that as well. I need to boot them off. So I'd come into here, I'd click on send a message, I'd type something in here, something along the lines of, let's have a look if I've still got it. No, it's not got it on this one. It'd be, thanks a lot for connecting. In the message, I always personalise it to be, hi Charles. For some reason that's just hid behind there. Hi Charles. And there's a whole load of things you can see here. I mean, I won't go through this whole process because we'll get short of time. We've got quite a lot of questions to get through as well at the end. If you watch the part 2 first view video that I've got on my YouTube channel, there's a really great example on there of how you could actually use this to really get a lot of inquiries fast, and just some clever wording. But you could right from the heart, if you're genuinely thanking somebody, I wouldn't try to sell to them too much, because again, it's just you need to build that rapport up. But personalize it and send them something reasonable to try and develop that. And I mean, actually, I had a coffee with a guy on Monday, and we're going to end up doing some serious business together. It's quite a big, it's a 6-figure deal. It's a big deal, and that came about from me sending him. We connected on LinkedIn. He sent me, I sent him a thanks for connecting. He sent me one back going, Jesus Christ, nobody ever does that. It looks like we've got something in common. Let's have a coffee, and that's where that came from. So it certainly works. Again, you can do this. You can do this on autopilot. You set the new connections. You put your subject in there just like you would on LinkedIn. Now, the really cool thing is, because personalization is so important, I've built that into the software for you. So you don't need to put a greeting on any of the messages that you send using autoNgage, because it's going to actually scrape their first name, and it's going to say hi or hello or dear. It kind of fluctuates, and it's going to personalize it for you. So you can just literally get in here and just start typing your message directly, straight off, no problem at all. Okay, so I mean, that is, again, like I said, if you're using that in conjunction with the profile viewer over on the engagement tab, it is. I mean, that alone, just the profile viewer and just the new connection messaging will get you lots of business inquiries, lots of stuff going on all the time. It's just, I mean, it's like dynamite. It has to be seen to be believed. But you know, you've seen my LinkedIn account live there. That's new connection. There's a few other things in here as well, because again, like I said, I've put the mail all connections. I'll skip to that one quickly. That does what it says on the tin. It will mail all of your connections. If you've got a boatload of connections, it will mail them all. You know, to go and actually do that, you need to have a good reason for doing that. You're going to come off as spammy if you're not careful. If you've got a very, very targeted group, connection network, then maybe, you know, maybe that's cool. If you're doing something for charity, you know, I mean, that'd be cool, totally. You know, that's awesome. But just all I'm saying is use that with caution, because, you know, and I'm sure there will be people get hold of this. They'll go out there, they'll spam people, and you know, they'll probably get their accounts banned. They will get found out because everybody will complain about them, and that's why they'll get found out. And LinkedIn, you know, will obviously have to take some action over it. So, you know, use it carefully and considerately to actually get a result. Don't just go out there spamming people like crazy, and you know, without expecting to you know, have the consequence of it. I mean, if you're a true black hat and you're creating dozens of LinkedIn accounts and you're mailing them, you know, I'm not going to get into ethics on here. Do what you need to do to make a living at the end of the day. The tool will let you do that. Whether that's the right thing to do, that's your ethical choice to make and for me to preach. But you can do it. That's the bottom line. It'll mail all your connections. The other two are where you know, you can get a lot more specific, and really that, you know, as a professional market, that's probably where I'd be coming from, because I like to put offers to people that they're actually going to be interested in, because guess what, they convert a whole lot better. And there's two ways that you can do that, either by industry or by keyword. If you choose industry, we've actually loaded up all of LinkedIn's industries as they categorize them in here, and you just go through and choose the one that you want to send to. So again, using the my accounting thing, I could select accounting. I could send, you know, I could email all my accountancy friends and say, guess what, guys, I'm doing a social media seminar especially tailored to accountants, to teach accountants on how to, you know, get inquiries out of LinkedIn or do whatever on Twitter. That would work. That would work very, very well. I could do the same for any of those other categories. So I'd just do that. Likewise, keyword, and again, this is really powerful for profiling and actually segmenting your connections, particularly when you've got 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 connections. You're going to have a broad mix of industries in there. It's just going to be natural. So again, without going down the kind of mass spam route, what you can do is very specifically profile. So I could put social media USA into that keyword search, and actually that's all my connections in the USA that are in the social media industry. That's going to work. It's going to allow me to just send those guys a personalized message that's specific to them. So if I'm doing a seminar in the US, that might fit. I might want to do that. Like if I'm doing one here in London, I might just want to email my UK. So again, I can do that using that keyword setup in there. Once again, just to show you how to do it, you can do this manually. It's just really, really, really clunky. That's the problem with it. But if you wanted to, go into you click up here on the messaging thing. You can click on new. It all takes a little bit of time. It's the same stuff. You've got a subject line. You've got the you can type a message. If I click in there, if I start typing, it's going to start making suggestions. But you imagine to email to send a message to all of your connections, it would just be a nightmare. And actually, I think the limit's about 100 that you can send in any one go. It's very, very, very clunky way of doing it. The other way would be to use advanced search. Again, it works, but it's just Jesus. I actually remember back in the day I had one of my VAs, because I wanted to email all my connections before we had any of these sort of tools, and one of the reasons why I wanted them, but I actually had one of my VAs work for a full weekend going through manually sending, cut and paste, cut and paste, cut and paste, and they just got, I mean, God help them out, they didn't go mad doing that, but they sat there and did that for a full weekend, and just to send the messages out to everyone. I mean, obviously it got a result, but I mean, God, it's just not nowhere to do it. So yeah, you can do it by an advanced search. You click up on advanced. You can set whatever you need to set in here. Keyword. You can set industry in here. There are other things you might want to do it manually, God forbid. But I could select accounting. I'd set just my first connections because they're the only people I can actually message directly. I'd click on search. And there we go. So I mean, it won't be so bad for me actually as it is. I'm not that connected to accountants. I guess if I put technology in there, there's a whole lot more connections. But I could literally go through here, open link in new tab, open link in new tab, open link in new tab. There we go. It loads up the profile. I can type it in there. I can click send. I could do the same in here. But I mean, realistically, that's going to take an awful lot of time. I'm going to end up losing track of who I have sent mail. I'm not going to check that. It's not really the way to be doing that kind of thing. So you don't have to. That's the good news. There's a tool here that's going to let you do that. So you fill in the fields that you need to. Subject line in there. Again, don't need the greeting. It's going to do it personalized. So this is the message. And once again, all you would do is type your LinkedIn credentials for the account that you want to use in here and click send messages, and off it goes. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to send silly messages out to people. By all means, check the demo out on the first view video. You'll see that in action. Now the other extra that you get in the Pro version, which again just makes it, if you're more of a if you're more of a professional market, if you're somebody who is using this as a professional basis on a day-to-day basis, rather than just a casual user, you might this is something that might really benefit you in terms of the way that you can actually schedule this stuff to happen, even if if you're out of town, you're on holiday, you're on-site consulting, you're involved in a business, you just can't be bothered for a week, whatever. You can actually set this up and really fine-grain tune it to run your campaigns, automatically, even when you're not sat at your desk. All you need is your computer turned on, or if you've got a private virtual computer, you can just have it sat on there, and it'll just run when you tell it to. And all we would do is we'd go into Tools, we'd click on Scheduler. I'm just going to bring that in. We get the calendar up here. Some of you might have seen this stuff in other software. It's the same sort of system that we built in. So we choose when we want to do stuff. Just double click that, and I can choose what event I want to go off at 10 o'clock my time. And there's a few to choose from. You can run all the engagement tasks, so that's everything that's set up, a bit like if you just click Run Tasks in the Engagement tab. You can set your messages to go, so you can tee the messages up and then get them to actually send. I mean, that for me personally, that's a really useful tool because obviously I'm based here in the UK. I do a lot of business in the States, and I don't really want messages going out in the middle of the night because they're going to get missed. I want them to land at certain times or at certain times of the day that for different types of messages that work better, that get a better response. And what I can actually do here is click the send messages. I can get everything set up and then just tee it up to send, so it hits everybody's inbox at 3 p.m. or 6 p.m. Eastern time, or whenever I actually want that to hit, I can do that. And again, if I've set my profiling up correctly, potentially I could hit all my connections in Atlanta, where you are, Lee, at a certain time when actually I'm probably in bed or I'm chilling out or doing something else. So that's pretty cool as well. But going beyond that, what I can actually do is I can individually set the actual engagement tasks themselves to go off independently. So, for example, I could set it up so that at 9 a.m. it likes the popular post of the day, so it's dropping into my feed that I've been liking all this information, and it's kind of resharing that and adding credibility. Then I could have it spend the rest of the morning viewing profiles. I could then do some endorsement over lunchtime. So as people are sat there, checking their emails over lunch, oh wow, Mike's endorsed me, I'll get in touch with him. I could do that, and then I could get it saying congratulations late afternoon or whatever. That's just an example. As it happens, that's how I tend to run it. It seems to work really well for me. But you can play around with it, and you've got that ability to really tune in and just make the thing do exactly what you want to do when you want to do it. I mean, it's like the ultimate virtual assistant. You tell it once, it just keeps doing it. It never gets ill. It never wants pain again. It just does what you tell it to do. It's like the best employee ever. So I can go through there. I can set dates, times. I can just make it repeat if I want to do. So again, if you're doing profile viewing, you might want to get it to run in the morning and in the night. I could get that to run every 12 hours. I just click OK, and off it goes. Once I'm done with that, I just come back out to the software, I click Run on Schedule, minimize it, and boom. It's going to sit there and it's going to do exactly what I want it to do while I get on and do something better, like actually make some money from all the leads that I've been getting. So there we have it. It's one hell of a tool. There's a lot going on in there. Sorry it's taken me so long to walk you all through it, but it's just such a big, there's a lot to tell you about in there. I hope you've got some benefit from some of those manual techniques. If you want to go and try that stuff manually, if the software is not for you, that's pretty cool. But I think that's me done, Lee. I think we're probably over to you, because I think there's some bits and bobs, and I know there's a lot of questions coming through there. So
we've had a true ton of questions. My head is exploding, Mike. I've been waiting for played around with the first tab some, but not the messaging, and I just basically can't wait to use this thing myself. So yeah,
it's just astonishing how rapidly it works.
Yeah, that is amazing.
I don't mean how quick the software runs. I mean how quickly you get a result from the software. It's instant in some cases.
Yeah, absolutely. So, couple of things, folks. We've got about 40 million questions. I've been answering some of them. Some of them we need Mike to answer. Others save for Q&A. Let's do this. You're probably wondering how much this is going to cost. Now, you guys are on this webinar because you're related to us somehow. You bought stuff from us in the past, you're on our LinkedIn networks, whatever. So we put our heads together. We want to give you a first cousin price. So let's cut to the chase on that. And then we will come back for massive Q&A and answer all your questions. This is going to be for sale at this first cousin price for a little over 72 hours. There's a counter on the page. Mike, I fixed up a bit.ly link, which if you could help me, you can't get to the chat though. I'll pop that in there. But anyway, if you guys will go to bit.ly, bit.ly, and if you will, I'm going to pop this in the chat in just a second, but http://bit.ly/autoNgage, you will see the following page. Okay, so when we get the webinar replay, I'm going to pop this up here. So if you're not sure if you want to get this right this moment, that's totally cool. You've got until the... Excuse me? bit.ly/autoNgage, AUTONGAGE. There's no I in the end part, AUTONgage. Now, again, this is the first cousin price. The world at large does not get this price, but we will have the webinar replay right here under the little headline here when we get that up, which takes normally about a day. The basic, let's go over what you get for the basic. You get the basic endorsing, liking, viewing, and congratulating. Basically that first tab that you saw on the software, you get that. The Pro has that. The messaging and the scheduling, basic does not have that. Pro does have that. So this is what you will see when you enter the bit.ly link into your browser. I'll pop that in the chat for everybody. No, Jim? Yeah, actually we do. Hang on, Jim. Right there. Jim, let me get to that in a second. In terms of using the software, no. Okay, so and Jim's asking if there are any OTOs or upsells. We got a couple of other things, which I'll show you in just a second. But in terms of the usability of the software, no. In other words, you either choose Basic or you choose Pro. That's what you need in terms of the software. Next thing, Mike, are you a presenter? No, you're a presenter. Are you an organizer? Can you see the chat questions? I don't know why I didn't make you. I should have made you one. I don't think.
Yeah, I can see bits of them. I think I'm not sure I can see them all. But, I mean, there's plenty. Like.
I'm going to make you the organizer. Well, you and I are both organized, so now you can get to the questions. So while you do that, Jim, I'll go pull up the pages for the upsells so that I can show you all what is there and what that is about. All right. So I think in all fairness, it'd be good to show that to people. So Mike, if you could just start answering questions while I'm doing that, that'd be totally cool, and we can make sure we're efficiently helping people with their time.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'll do that now. So you're going to take? Do you want to take the presenter back over?
No. You just keep the presenter right now, and you just look through those questions, and I'll become the presenter and show people these other pages in 1 second.
Ah, right. Okay. Sorry, I'm with you.
I just basically have to log into my account.
Yeah. Okay. Right then. Got a question here. So that so if I don't have that many connections, this is not for me. Okay, I mean, you've kind of answered that quickly, but just to skate back over that, I mean, it really does. If you've got a lot of connections, you know, surely it's going to work better just because you've got more connections, but it's actually going to help you build your connections at the same time as engaging with the ones that you've got. I mean, particularly the post liking and the profile viewing, they're very, very effective ways of driving inbound connections, of actually getting people coming to you and wanting to connect. And I mean, you know, check out LinkedIn here, or check out social media, some of our other tools that kind of do that more proactively. I'll be honest, I haven't used social media since middle of December or something like that, just purely because I've been concentrated on this tool, and I wanted to see how that would work in terms of the connections that I get. On average, I probably get, just in testing with this and not necessarily using it every day and that kind of thing, I'm probably getting 10, 15 new connection requests just coming in completely, you know, oblivious to anything that I'm doing. So, I mean, you know, you times that over a month, you're jumping up pretty quickly and building quite a big network very, very quickly. So, you know, you don't have to have a big network at all. The bigger your network, the better the messaging stuff will work if you're reaching out proactively, because there's more, you can send more messages, obviously. But you know, in terms of that, no, it doesn't matter how big your network is. Even if if you've just started on LinkedIn. I mean, actually, the good news is if you have just started on LinkedIn and this is all kind of new to you, I mean, that's perfect, because I've been on LinkedIn, God, years and years and years, and I guess I spent the first 2 or 3 years doing all the wrong stuff because I didn't really know what I was doing, and I had to learn and read all the books and try stuff and do stuff and see what worked and what didn't work. You know, you're actually going to be able to sort of totally bypass that entire learning curve and just do the right stuff straight away and start getting a response. So, I wish I could have done that back when I first got going. But anyway, so there we go. That's actually answered a few questions there. I've got a few, some brand new, so no connections yet. You know, that's totally going to help. Okay, mail all connections to more than one connection level. No, you can only, basically the question I've got there is, when I mail all connections, does that mean I'm reaching out to my second tier or in third tier, you know, 30 million people? No, that isn't the case at all. You can't do that. I mean, that would completely make this into just a spamming tool, and every spammy black hat guy in the world would be coming and buying a copy and just blitzing it. And you know, LinkedIn will probably shut that down. You can only send a message if you're connected with somebody, so you know, or unless you buy those the expensive in-mail things that LinkedIn try and sell. That's the only way you can message somebody out of your network is with an in-mail. And I think they're $10 ago last time I checked, which, sounds like an awful lot of money to me to be able to send somebody a message, but there you go. They obviously sell some of them. So the answer to that is no. If you send to all messages, I mean, I've got something around 4,000, just thereabouts. If I click on the mail all connections option, that's going to send about 4,000 messages out to people, which, yeah, I mean, is totally powerful. But as I said, just use that with caution, use it with some ethics, do what you need to do with it.
Mike, can I interrupt and let's go ahead and answer Jim's question?
Yeah, sure.
Let me make myself the presenter and we'll look at my computer real fast. So guys, and then Mike, I'll just make you the presenter again. So when you put in bit.ly/autoNgage, and I popped that in the chat. If y'all need the link, let us know. You see this, okay? Now, when you buy this, there are a couple of other things that you might consider buying. You don't have to have them to make the software work, okay? These are just things, look, all three of us, Gloria, me, and Mike, we're heavy LinkedIn users, and these next two items answer issues that people have with selling stuff on LinkedIn. So number one, we call this auto content. The only other thing that you need to do, and I'm just be honest with you, you don't have to do this. The software is going to work without this. I know that's kind of like silly of me to talk you out of buying it, but I'm just being honest with you. You don't have to have this. But if you want to brand yourself, if you want to get a lot of eyeballs on you and your stuff, if you want to really ramp up your engagement and connection with people even more, the way to do that is with content. Putting content into the into LinkedIn, into a status update, putting content into a blog post, things like that. All three of us do this. Now, we don't create much of the content that we put into LinkedIn. That would be a ton of work, right? We curate a lot of content. So curating means we find relevant articles about things that apply to our profiles, to the reason that we're on LinkedIn. So Mike's a software developer. He sells stuff to businesses. He might find an article in Forbes magazine about using apps in business or something like that. And he would curate that. And what that means is he would go to the LinkedIn status update and pop in something like, hey, here's a really cool article that I read. Here's the link. Bam. So that way, he doesn't have to create all of the content of that article. All he's doing is referencing it. Now, that does a bunch of stuff. It goes in the news feeds of people that are connected to him, and they look at it. It also positions him. They think, wow, he's interested in that. Therefore, that has something to do with who he is, right? So it helps position him. It helps brand him, helps deepen people's relationship.
Standing on the shoulders of giants.
There you go. There you go. I mean, I can take something by Sir Richard Branson, and a little bit of that rubs off on me, right? So we have, if you want this, okay, we have done for you content. We've got for a lot of people on this webinar are selling what we call offline services, selling internet marketing products and services to offline businesses. So for the niches of, notice I said niche, Mike, the niches of SEO, mobile marketing, web design, video marketing, PPC, and social media, we have done for you content that is already curated. We've got it on a spreadsheet, and you can go to this page and look at this video, and it will walk you through the whole thing. But we have the title of the article, the description, and we even have shortened links. So all you got to do is take this, pop it in, and you are good to go in terms of using content to deepen that relationship with your network. Now, I gave a beta version of this to someone, and they had a great question. They said, well, Lee, and you've got over 400 pieces of content right here. So they said, well, Lee, what if I use the same content as somebody else? That doesn't matter on LinkedIn, because see, the people that are going to see your content, so let's say person A uses that piece of content right there, and person B uses that piece of content there also. Aren't people going to say, well, I saw that person's and I saw that person's, it's the same thing? No, they're not. Hey, LinkedIn is so huge, and who sees it is dependent on your network. So there's going to be very, very little overlap between people's networks. So everybody can use the same content. I mean, it's what we do. The three of us, everybody can use the same content. No overlap, or virtually no overlap. And again, this is just something that you can use. We also show you how to use it. Okay, so when you see this video of the walkthrough of the members area for this, we showed you how to use it. We show you where to post it, how to post it, when to post it, the whole thing. It is something that the three of us do a lot of, and it is part of our success on LinkedIn. The next thing, and there's only one more thing, the next thing, Gloria and I coach a lot of people, and we do a lot of webinar-based training for people. This is high-end webinar-based training. It's fairly expensive to get into. You're welcome to buy it, but I'm just pointing that out. A lot of issues that people have. So it's highly likely that you as a user of LinkedIn are trying to sell something to someone. It's fairly rare to find someone who has a lot of sales training under their belt. Mike does, I do by virtue of our history, but most people don't. So most people who want to start businesses or who want to grow their business using social media, they don't really understand how to move the conversation. But I mean, at some point you got to move that conversation off of LinkedIn and either in person, sitting at Starbucks, sitting in your potential client's office, giving a presentation to them and all of their staff, whatever, or on the phone doing some sort of webinar or join me or something like that. But at some point you got to talk to somebody. You have to close the sale. Gloria and I have been teaching people how to do this for a long time with great success. So we're offering our same system. Now this is going to be webinar-based teaching, and I may or may not have the webinar scheduled in here yet. So when you get this, if you get it like right now and look in there, and I haven't put the webinar in there yet, I think maybe I did. The webinar is for February the 3rd, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It will be recorded and made available to you, but we're going to show you exactly how we teach people to take these developed conversations. So let's say you get the software autoNgage. Let's say you run it. So just like Mike did, he ran it a few times. Now he's got people who want him to talk to them about doing work for them. What's the process? How do you move people off of there? How do you get them on the phone? What do you do when you get them on the phone? How do you do a sales presentation? How do you close? How do you make that all seamless? How do you make it something that's going to work most of the time? That's what this particular item is about. So Jim, those are the only two other things that you could possibly buy after you buy autoNgage, is our auto content, which is our done-for-you content, and what we call auto closing. We're just keeping the auto theme all the way through. Auto closing, which is how Gloria and I have been teaching people how to sell and close for some time now. So that is the entirety of everything.
I just worked that out, Lee. So the content thing, so that's the first time I've seen that properly because I've been that busy getting with the software.
I know, we just let you sit around and code software. We do the rest.
Yeah, that's really easy.
It's a good division of labor.
That's like 4 cents an article then, isn't it?
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean,
that's just nothing.
Yeah, I mean, considering the power of curating content, and you can curate this both and put it in a status update, or you can do what I do personally, which is put it on a blog post, and you can get massive engagement through that, and also massive branding. Laura says, is there content specifically for LinkedIn consultant? Yeah, Laura, yes. A lot for people who are doing social media consultancy, yes. We have content for people who are doing social media consultancy. Does all of it have to do per se with LinkedIn? In other words, is the title going to say like 4 ways your business could benefit from LinkedIn, whatever? No, it's not necessarily going to say that. And it doesn't have to say that because really, Laura, the purpose of curating content, it's to help other people position you in their heads. So they see Lee Cole and this article, and they say, oh, that's what Lee's about. Yeah, I know Lee. You know, he congratulated me the other day. No, it didn't. It's actually software that did that. But they're going to say, oh, well, that's an article. Oh, so he's, you know, they associate me with that article. So they think, oh, that's what he's up to. That's what he does. So, Laura, in terms of social media marketing, yeah, we have a whole section for people who are interested in social media marketing. But you could use the whole thing. I mean, it's still going to get people. Basically, what you want to happen is this. I know I started like 4 sentences at the same time. I'm just excited because I love this stuff. But basically, Laura, this is how it happens from the viewer's point of view. So you're connected with somebody, you send them an endorsement, you send them, you know, you are on their radar, right? If they hadn't looked at your profile yet, they will, because, you know, you put something, you curate some content, say, hey, here's this cool article about how you can increase your sales through smarter use of social media. You know, link to the article. People read that and they think, yeah, I remember Laura. She, you know, did yada yada. Let me go look it out. Now here's the magic, guys. Here's what happened. Let me go look at her profile. Mike, that's exactly what happened to you. Those leads that you got, you know, they came, the engagement, I call it stirring up the mud. It's like taking a big stick and stirring up the mud on the bottom of the lake, right? The engagement, auto-engage, is what stirs up the mud, but then the human being takes over and says, yeah, that's cool, that's interesting, who is this person? Let me look at their profile, and they think, well, wait a minute, that's actually somebody I need to talk to. What's cool with that, Laura, is that is internet marketing, and I'm talking about the broad umbrella of internet marketing at its best, because it's permission-based marketing at its best. You're not pushing someone, they're choosing you. You popped up your hand and got on their radar through autoNgage. Through the content, you positioned yourself, and then they choose you and say, they look at your profile and say, well, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure I need to talk to Laura about whatever it is she's doing. So that is a person who is virtually pre-sold, because they've gone through, I mean, think about it emotionally from their point of view. They've gone through all this and they've chosen you. That's not a sales call. When you talk to them, Laura, that's just like somebody's calling you up and saying, hey, I want to already do business with you. Can we talk about details? So that's how that works.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'd say, I mean, I especially, obviously, I've got quite a broad skill set, but
Mike,
I specialize in social media. And
Michael Clay, do I have permission to read that whole thing out loud in front of God and everybody? Because I mean, I would like to, but I don't have to. He's like, this is crazy. So if you will give me permission to read that comment out, I would love to tell everybody that. But I don't want to use it as a testimonial without your permission. You bet, Jana. Jana says, thank you for showing the upsells. I meant to have those already queued up there, Jana. I'm running a little behind today, actually. Jim, it's exactly what you see here. But again, you know, guys, in terms of the auto content, do you just have to use content focused on your little narrow bandwidth of a niche? No, you don't, because again, the whole thing is, Jim's talking about reputation management. So Jim, look at it like this. If somebody's interested in reputation management, for one thing, Jim, they are not necessarily in their heads using those words, reputation management. That's what you and I call it. They don't call it that. They call it things like, that employee screwed me over on Yelp. That's what they call it, okay? They don't necessarily call it reputation management. So they don't really know they don't have the same, you know, they don't have the same symbols and words that you do. So let's say somebody has a reputation management problem. So they're looking for a solution, but they don't know what it's called. So they get, you know, they get your stuff, they get, you know, ping from the endorsement, et cetera. You get on, just like I told Laura, you get on their radar. You've got this content that they see every now and then that positions you as an expert of internet marketing type stuff. that person's going to say, man, that's cool. That guy endorsed me for something. That's really cool. I'm going to go look at his profile. Then that's where your profile is talking about rep management. Okay, and I know you and I believe it was you, Jim, you and I were talking about in the chat about profile stuff. But let's say your profile's talking about rep management. So that's when they say, oh, that's what you call that. And then you kind of break it down for them. You know, if you have a problem with, you know, negative whatever online, then blah, 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 blah. That's how you break it down. They look at that and they say, yo, you know what, I need that guy because I got this bad problem of this person inventing this thing and saying it on Yelp just because they got mad because I fired them because they were late all the time. So that's how that works.
I think the thing there, I mean, I was just going to say earlier, I push out content right across the board. I mean, even sometimes, like, you know, PC, you know, if there's a PC virus going around or something.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The point is, to us guys, you know, we live on computers, we work in computers, we click our mouses for a living, that's what we do. You know, we see the specialities, but to your average offline guy, we're just people that, we're in IT, and that's about as specific as it gets. So that guy's in IT. That's you know, that's my easy way of explaining what I do, because it's quite difficult sometimes. What do you do, Mike? Oh, I'm in IT. Oh, right, yeah, no, I know what that is. I mean, what does that actually mean these days? It's nothing. But I think if you're actually actively sharing content across a broad spectrum of different specialities in the IT sector, I mean, it's like, wow, that guy just knows, you know, he knows everything. So when they then go and check out what your speciality actually is on your profile, it's like, well, God, if he knows that much about all this other stuff, I mean, he must be really good at that stuff. I need to get in touch with him. And that's how I sort of, you know, that's how it works for me anyway, certainly.
Well, there's actually, yeah, there's that, and there's even more, and I don't know this for sure. This is just from my experience putting a ton of content on LinkedIn, is it seems to me, Mike, that we get rewarded for more engagement.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
The more engagement I have on my content, my profile, my stuff, the more engagement I'm going to get. So you've got a cool article about mobile marketing, but at base your business is about selling reputation management. Well, it still helps. So guys, don't get too narrowly focused on what the articles are about. You know, don't like pick number 7 and number 14 and number, you know, 32. Don't do that, because I mean, just start at the top and just pop them in, because the more eyeballs you get on this stuff, the more eyeballs you're going to get. And I noticed this summer when I was doing a lot of content on LinkedIn that, I mean, it was snowballing. It was building and building and building. So, you know, just start at the top with this content, work your way through, and it will do its job.
Yeah, I think the thing that, I mean, obviously you've got to post quality content. And I guess that's, you know, that it's great when you can just boom, get it off the shelf sort of thing.
Yep.
You know, there's some quality content. But it is a bit of a numbers game as well. You know, people probably aren't going to read. It's not like you're not going to get on the New York Times bestsellers list with this stuff. You're not trying to. You just reasserting your presence, reasserting your credibility, reasserting your knowledge base. People are going to kind of, you know, sometimes they'll just glance at the bit and go, oh, Mike's talking about social media again. He knows so much about that. It just reminds them that you're an expert in that whole world. That's all it needs to do. So just get on with it.
Mike, Bob has asked. Bob, I appreciate your patience. Bob has asked a question, just one time to answer it yet, several times, and it's about groups. Okay, can you target groups as opposed to individuals with autoNgage?
No, you can't. It's got no group functionality whatsoever in it. Well, that's a whole different way of marketing on LinkedIn. And you know, if you you know, it certainly works, and getting involved in those communities, it works really well. You know, if you were learning LinkedIn kind of 2-3 years back, everybody was talking about how important it is to get into your groups and join loads of groups and post to your groups, and that's cool, and it does kind of work. The problem for me, and the reason why it's not something I've developed within this software specifically, is to do groups properly, you've got to kind of really, you know, it's got to be human engagement. If you start, if a robot turns up in a group, they spot it pretty quickly and they'll out you. So I can't make a robot go and communicate with people like a human would. That doesn't exist. Even the best AI artificial intelligence available these days, you know it's a robot that you're talking to. I mean, they're clever, but they're just robots. And if you go and do that in a group, you're just going to get, you're not going to get very good engagement. You're just going to look like, you can't be bothered. And that's not the look that we're going for here. So that's why it doesn't. If you want to go and engage in groups, do that, but it's quite labour intensive for the results that it gets, in my experience. And I mean, I hammered groups for quite some time, and it worked. I got a few inquiries, I made some connections. That was really good. Compare that to having a tool like Engage sat there doing what it does. I've got better things to, I'd rather actually, old-fashioned as it sounds, I'd rather go and actually go to a physical, entrepreneurs mastermind group locally, or a chamber meeting, or I'd rather go and actually meet real people and talk to them properly like a human if I'm going to do that than get involved. Because the problem again with the LinkedIn groups as well is, I mean, some of those groups have got like 50 million members or whatever. Well, there's only really 4 of them, and it's the 4 that founded the group who actually do any of the talking. So they get a little bit of samey anyway as well. I mean, with the greatest respect to those people, and it's great that people can be bothered to try and organise those sort of things, but the vast majority of those groups are pretty dry, and I just never used to be able to, for the time I put in, I didn't get the response that I wanted, whereas building engagement, sending people messages, promoting to them, I mean, bang, it's lots of leads every day. Well, what more do you want? It does the trick.
Yeah, that answer makes sense to me. David has a question. Have you any negative experience with footprints, etc.? Too many profile views? So basically, any negative experience from using autoNgage?
The only negative experience I've had, and I've been testing it extensively, bear in mind, before autoNgage came along, I was doing this stuff manually. I used to get my VA to do a lot of it. I mean, bless her, she's been done out of a job by all these robots that I keep creating, but anyway, that's another thing. I guess the main negative that I've had personally, and this is really probably personal to me, is I'm very, very busy. As you know, I've got offline business, I do consulting, I've developed software, I've got loads going on all the time, and that's just in my business life. And because of I'm busy and I've been developing the software, a lot of the leads that have been coming in as a result of using it, I haven't been able to respond to straight away. And usually when I get an inquiry in about anything, even if it's not something I can do, I like to refer it to somebody who can, just try and be helpful. So I suppose that the negative for me has been I've left a few people hanging a little bit lately because I've just been tired of getting this thing ready for everybody to to get their hands on it tonight. So I suppose if you're not going to be able to get back to, it's kind of a double-edged sword. This will generate you inquiries, business, traffic, whatever, like nothing you've ever seen before on LinkedIn. It will do that. If you're not ready to accept that traffic, be prepared that you're probably going to have to leave people kind of dangling and waiting for you to get in touch with them, which, that equally isn't going to send the best response either. So you might find that it's actually, you don't need to use it every day because you're getting that much coming in from it that it overwhelms you, which is, that's cool. Outsourcing.
That's a good problem to have. And a couple of things about that. According to how much business you want. I mean, some of you guys on here I know, and I know that you actually have in-house employees so you can handle more business. Some of you are just single entrepreneurs. Some of you just starting a business. So according to how much business you want, you might have to sort of gauge how often you use autoNgage. It's that powerful, but that makes absolute sense. Also, the whole thing about efficiently dealing with the conversations efficiently, I call it, there's that old saying about don't try to whip a dead horse. So just from a sales point of view, I call it, figuring out which horses are going to get you somewhere and which ones aren't going to go anywhere. That's a whole sales thing. That's one of the reasons that we created auto closing, was to give people an efficient way of taking these conversations and moving them into real appointments so that you don't get hung up just basically talking, basically spending your time on the threads or messages that aren't going to go anywhere, and you're spending your time, and instead spending your time on the ones that are actually going to close and actually send you money. Laura, I just read your thing about the LinkedIn and Twitter. I can't tell what the question is. So if you could pop that back in there, that's fine.
I've got quite a good question that pops up in the chat that I should probably cover off, and it's just with regards to if you're going to be using this for clients and how that can work. I mean, it's really simple, it's really straightforward to set these campaigns up and run them for clients. What I will say though is if you're going to be using it for that kind of thing, you're going to need to buy the Pro version. You could do it with the basic version, but I mean, you're getting into the realms of it being quite labour intensive. I would genuinely say, I mean, I didn't realise there was going to be that difference in the pricing, but for $10, buy the Pro version if you're using it professionally for clients. It's money well invested because you're going to make more money from it. And the reason for that is the scheduling is just so important if you're going to start running multiple campaigns. Because it's dead simple to do. You'd open the thing up, you'd set the campaign up in the interface, however you would need to run that, whatever you've sold the client to. You know, you might say to the client, hey, we'll do, you know, profile viewing and we'll do endorsing every day, and for a bit more money we can do some liking. You know, you could stage your pricing that way, so you could really tailor the campaigns how they need to be done. And then just schedule it all up and pop in there the client's LinkedIn details. To run more than one campaign at the same time, all you do is just open up another instance of autoNgage. Just go ahead and double-click the shortcut again. Make sure you run it as an administrator, and it'll pop up another window, and you can have another one running if you like. I mean, you could, if your computer's powerful enough, you can have a lot of these running. I mean, it actually doesn't use a lot of processing power when it's sat there doing what it does. During testing, I've had 4 or 5 open at the same time, all doing different things. I mean, I've got a pretty good computer, as you might imagine, but it didn't even think about it. You know, I had other stuff open as I was developing at the same time, so I had some quite powerful software running alongside that, and it ran fine. You know, it'll do that quite comfortably. But like I say, you do really need that scheduling sort of functionality in there to set that up efficiently, so that you can be sure that you're going to be fulfilling your clients' needs on a day-to-day basis. Because I mean, they're going to see the benefit of it straight away, aren't they? Obviously, and that's, you know, it's a great service to sell if you're doing LinkedIn consultancy. I mean, you know, it's brilliant. And I mean, the reason it is so brilliant is because the perceived value is so high of it. Because, you know, if you sit there and, I mean, for me to do, if I run autoNgage on the engagement tasks alone, and let's say, you know, an average day for me, I might run, I don't know, something like, I might do 100 endorsements, let's say. That'd be quite low probably. I'll do some post liking, I'll do 250 profile views, and I'll do 100 congratulations. So just let that sit there and do that, because it does it in real time. It's going to run for probably 2.5 hours or something like that. It's a long period of time. So if you're selling that as a service, I mean, effectively that's your hourly value right there. So if you're offering to do that for a client and you're offering to do that on a monthly basis, well, that's, you know, 2 hours a day, let's say, 5 days a week. It's, you know, 4 weeks. It's 40 hours. It's a full week's worth of work that you can sell as a service that's really effective to a client. And you know, I mean, God, for somebody to hire me to do a full week's work at that level, there would be, I mean, that's quite a big ticket. You know, that'd be a big contract for me to do. Obviously, because I've got a bit of software that does it, you could charge a little bit less, and you know, there's a lot of value to there as a service, and absolutely, there's no reason why you can't use the software to run loads of that all at the same time.
Okay, so we had several people ask variants of that question, so that was cool.
Just to add to that, Lee, before we move on, which, you know, something that is quite pertinent really to that thing. The beauty of, if you are in that, you know, if that's where you're at, if that's what you're doing, the software does this. You know, you can get so many new clients using the software. It's just untrue. I mean, it's you know, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Use the thing to get clients to then sell them.
There you go.
The service of using the thing.
There you go.
It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, set up your profile so that it talks about what you do. Use the software to get engagement. Use the auto content to deepen that engagement. Yep. Yeah, it's an entire solution. Software, content, closing. Yeah.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is, yeah.
Laura, I'm looking back at one of your previous questions. She says, can you like or endorse the people that are in your niche? Basically, let me read the question, then let me say what I think this is asking. Does it do it at random? I'm confused about that. Building my connections that are in my niche and really just want to work on that. In other words, let's say that you're very niche specific, so you're building out your connections among well, web developers. Okay, just to pick a topic, you're building out your connections just among web developers. How does autoNgage work to deepen that? Create more relationships, deepen those relationships in that niche.
Sorry, say that again, Lee.
So Laura is, Laura, I'm just choosing something. Okay, let's say Laura is just interested in connecting with web developers for whatever reason, whatever she's selling, whatever she wants to sell, whatever. Just interested in connecting with web developers. So let's say manually she's been connecting with web developers manually, but she wants to use autoNgage to connect with more, to reach out to more, to like stuff and congratulate and all that stuff. I mean, autoNgage basically is going to help her deepen that relationship with those people and also build more relationships with those people, right? Because you have the keyword aspect of autoNgage.
Oh, I mean, massive. Well, yeah, and there's a number of ways in which it will do that. I mean, first of all, congratulating people. If you've already got a network that's run full of web developers, every time they have a job anniversary, every time they have a birthday, which is at least once a year, right? So that's two opportunities a year you've got to communicate with them, remind them that on a direct basis as well. If you're endorsing them, I mean that that reciprocating of people see that they reciprocate very quickly. Well, if you're endorsing them, they naturally reciprocate back. It's just human nature. So you're very much deepening the relationships that you've got there. I mean, if you're doing the view profiles and you're targeting web developers, you're getting people inbound interested in connecting with you. Which again, don't forget, every time you connect with somebody on that basis, that pops up in your timeline as well. So your existing connections are going to see, hang on a minute, Laura's connecting with a lot of web developers. I mean, there's
exactly
that, right? So on that basis, it works stupidly powerful. And then, I mean, to really drill down into that, I mean, and actually, I can talk firsthand from this. Back going a long way back, we had a digital agency, an offline thing. We were doing offline services. One of the big things we used to do was search engine optimization. We were really big into that. And I realized pretty quickly that most web developers should be really big into that, but they're not. Certainly they weren't at the time. It's probably changed a bit now. So I made a beeline for every web developer I could get in touch with and say, hey there, you build great websites. We can get them to the top of Google. Why don't we, both service the same client? And we'll have a deal. I'll give you a referral if you pass your clients on to me. And I mean that built me a business that within 6 months we had that up to well into six-figure turnover a year just off the back of that one service. And I mean, thinking back, if I'd had a tool like autoNgage, it'd have been even quicker and even simpler to do, because I'd have built up the network, I'd have done all the engagement stuff, and then I'd have just gone straight into my send messages tab, which is effectively what I did back in the day. And I'd send them all a personalised message saying, hey there, I think there's a lot of synergy. Can we have a coffee? Can we meet up? Can we do it over Skype? Can I just borrow a few minutes of your time? I've got a way that I think I can help you make a load more money for doing no extra work. It'll take you 10 minutes. You've got 10 minutes, right? They'll come. That would be it. You will get an awful lot of leads very, very quickly for exactly that thing that you wanted to do. So the point being that it's putting the ability to directly target, indirectly and directly target exactly the people that you want to be talking to, and then reach out to them with a personalised message and actually instigate that next step, whether that's a meeting, whether that's a view a web page, whether that's read a white paper, whatever it is that you need to do in your business through your sales funnel, you can make that happen directly. I mean, it's job done.
Yeah, very, very cool. Brett has a question. Does the message box support spin tags?
It doesn't at the moment. It doesn't. I may include that moving forward. Honestly, I didn't see that much benefit to it in this particular instance. I mean, your message is what it is. There's only one person going to see it. It's already personalised. There's no, there's no real benefit to spinning that message out, as I can see. I mean,
yeah.
Can give me an idea of why that would be beneficial. I can maybe bump that up the features list, but it just I mean, it's nice to be able to do, but really, it isn't going to have any impact apart from you might mess up on your spin tax and actually send out a bit of spin tax message,
which looks stupid.
Completely kills the mood completely.
Yes, it does.
We've all done that. Miss off a curly bracket and it all goes wrong.
Guys, I am while Mike's talking, I am scrolling up through. I am scrolling up through here to see what other questions you have. I think I've answered that. We've talked about a lot of them. I'm sure I missed some, and that some stuff didn't. Some stuff just didn't show up. And now I've lost where I was. Okay.
So Lee, I'm just paying attention to the thing that's been ticking in my because I know we're only doing this for like people that we've done business with before at this price, aren't we? I know we're planning on doing it quite a bit more. So this is the 3-day. Is this basically for this weekend then?
Yeah, basically. I think what's today? I've been we'll say through Monday evening, through about this time Monday. I think I set it for Monday at 11 o'clock p.m. something like that, Eastern time.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, I think I had to really. I just felt like I really blasted through the demo there. So there are a couple of videos. I don't know if we posted the links anywhere to those first few videos.
Yeah, I thought I would just put this whole thing on this page. We had the first view and the second view.
Kind of thinking about they just want to weigh up which versions for them, if it's for them at all. They might just find those little walkthroughs useful as well if they haven't already seen them. So plenty of time now.
Yeah, Mike, Ken wants to know your LinkedIn profile. I think he wants to hook up with you on LinkedIn.
All right. If you send me an invite request, it's hello@me-myself-and-mike.com. I don't know if I can type that in there. Please don't spam me. Well, you can if you like. Spam that.
Yeah, you would not be a good person to do that to. Yeah, Phil. Phil. We'll do something like that, Phil. Teresa has a question. Capable of posting images along with. Okay, so, and I think I understand your question, Teresa. In terms of what you can put in the messaging section. Can you put links that are clickable, and can you put images?
I mean, yeah. The first answer to the links thing is yes, which is really cool because that's.
Do you have to do something to the link to make it clickable, or does it just turn out to be clickable when they get it?
Yeah, you just pop it in there. I think if they're viewing it as an email in some mobile browsers, it might not click. But generally speaking, if they're looking at that on their computer or the tablet or a smartphone, they'll just be able to click that and go to wherever.
Yeah.
You don't need to do anything special. Images-wise, no is the short answer. You can't really. I mean, the way you would do it on LinkedIn would be to attach it, just to avoid problems, we've not included that functionality. It is just so you can send a textual message with links embedded.
Right. Okay.
I mean, the flip side of that is as well. I mean, images are awesome. It would be cool to do that, but equally, you don't want to be, it needs to be snappy. Whatever you're emailing to these people, they don't need a war and peace. I mean, I've had a few like welcome emails come through, and literally it's an 800-word introduction to them and their business. It's like, I'm just going to disconnect with you now because Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's just right. That's just stupid.
Just use a bit of common sense, and just get to the point as quickly as you can. Don't waste people's time. They might not be interested, so
yeah.
Don't go out of them.
Documentation, David. We're going to have the webinar and the first view and second view inside the members area. I'm actually going to go back and look at that again myself. I think probably Gloria and I can make that a little more streamlined. I mean, obviously the webinar's long, but we're talking about the first view and second view videos that we sent out a few days ago. So if we need to redo those and make those a little more streamlined, we'll definitely do those and have those in the members area. That's going to happen ASAP. I haven't personally even used the messaging part. I have a whole nother business that I use LinkedIn for, and I can't wait to get my hands on the messaging part. So you can bet that I'm going to be all over that, David, and figuring that out and asking Mike about a million questions. And we will turn that into some instructional videos very rapidly. Mike, this is PC-based, so this runs on Windows on your PC. Yeah. It's not web-based software.
No.
Phil, okay. On the licensing, on the Pro version, how many computers can Mike run this on?
2.
2, okay. Phil, I think we just answered that about messages, links in the messages and images. Bob's got a great question. It's not totally left field, but I'm liking this question. Bob's an author and wants to sell his books. How can he use this software? I think that is a fabulous question.
Okay. A bit of free consultancy then.
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no. I mean, it's great to have a real world scenario. I mean, first of all, who's the book aimed at? Is it? And I guess it must be. Let's just, for ease of explanation, let's assume it's aimed at business people. It's aimed at business owners, and let's say that it's it's a general information book for business owners in any industry. So that's really cool. So first off, I'd be using the engagement stuff. I'd be building up a network so I'm connected to plenty of business owners. Interestingly, I do a lot of work with business owners, and I find a good alternate industry that's got a lot of synergy with that is business coaches, because they also work with business owners as well. I mean, anybody that does is good to be connected to. So I'd be using my engagement tools to certainly the profile viewing side of things. Obviously, I would set my profile up on LinkedIn to be orientated towards business and business leadership and all that kind of thing. And I'd be typing in CEO, I'd be typing in managing director, I'd be typing in business owner into the targeting section, and I'd be doing a lot of profile viewing on that basis. I'd be getting a lot of people on an inbound basis coming into me. As that develops, I'd certainly be sending out the welcome messages to them. I really appreciate it. I love connecting with business owners. If there's anybody in my network I can connect you with, that's really, really cool. Probably the best way I would, again, if you're selling on Amazon or something like that, you might have a free chapter that you give away or something like that. I mean, that was, it's probably not business owners, but if it was, go write a book for business owners, because we're all very vain, we all love compliments. My welcome message would be something along the lines of, I'm really pleased to be connected with you. I find it inspiring talking to business owners like yourself. I have been fortunate enough to write a book about it, and as a business owner, I've checked out your profile. I'd really appreciate it if you ever could find 10 minutes to just read I can give you a free chapter of the book. I'd just love your feedback on what you think of the book. and I'd send, probably have a squeeze page to capture their emails on that and get them onto that list. And then I'd give them a free chapter of my book, and if my book's any good and they like it, they'll go and buy a copy, won't they? And they'll probably write me a nice review as well on Amazon or whatever. And there's other stuff you could do. That's just literally off the that's knee-jerk off of my head, but that would work. That'd sell your books, definitely. No problem.
And we've got some. So it turns out Bob writes fiction books, which is really interesting. Okay. And we've got a couple more comments, Bob. They're going to help you out a ton. David says, if I were selling books, I'd look for people who have literary-based podcasts showing. In other words, look for podcasters and start getting chummy with them. In other words, use the software. Basically what David's saying, and David, when you said podcasts, I thought, yeah, podcasts, bloggers, people who are in that whole milieu, of fiction, talking about it. You could use the software to build yourself out a massive base of contacts of people in the publishing industry, in related industries, people who are putting out content based on this stuff, and then do what Mike said. Just hit them up and say, hey, I just finished this book. I would love to give you the first chapter. Then they go to do the squeeze page, the first chapter. By the way, if you want to buy it, here's the link to Amazon. And Phil has, David, that was a cool comment. Phil has another really great thing. He says this would be a good way to send a message about a free Kindle book during promotion time. So I think, Bob, what Phil's relating to, and Phil, you probably know more about this than I do, but I think X number of days out of Y number of days, you can make your Kindle book free. And I think it's like 5 out of 30 or so. I've forgotten the numbers. Phil says up to 5 days. Thank you. So, Bob, you could have a 5-day Blitz freebie where you give away the book or give away one of your old books, okay, and then take them to a page with the new books where they have to pay. Phil says this is great for getting the numbers of downloads up to increase the position of the book within Amazon, and you can ask for testimonials at the same time. Bob, I think you just got an entire marketing plan from these guys. I love this.
We just founded a little mastermind group right there.
I know. This is awesome. This is awesome. Yeah. So
something? It's interesting because I know we've talked about what we're some of the plans we've got with the Smacker stuff later on in the year, and I think what's just happened right here and now is exactly what happens when you get clever people together. Whether it's whether we've got software to sell or we've all got ideas, and once they start bouncing around and in the correct mindset, amazing things happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. So guys, what Mike is referring to is we're building there's a method to our madness. We're working on building a community out of our software, and it's not just a community of people to buy software and have it sit on your computers. It's a community of people to buy software and also to figure out how to use the software to do various things. And Bob's question is an excellent example. Yeah, and Phil says, Phil's got another, Phil, you should be charging for this. This is so good. And Phil says, and you ask the people, so I think he's talking about the free downloaders during your 5-day period, to share the message. So you say, you hit them up and say, hey, I've got one of my books, it's blah, blah, blah. It's free for the next 5 days. I'd love it if you share this, blah, blah, blah. That's some awesome marketing right there. So Bob,
there's scripts out there that would actually power that, that you would set that up to, you only get the free download if you share it. So you just do it the way around.
Very nice. Yes, there are scripts that will do that. Make it go viral. Yeah. Have to share it on Facebook. Hey, I just picked up Bob's book about whatever. Pops up on your Facebook profile. You get a viral effect there. Very nice. Mm. Guys, this is awesome. Bob says in capitals, thanks, guys. Yeah. I mean, it was a wonderful question. I love questions that don't necessarily fit the mold, Bob, because it gets all the creative juices flowing, and that one definitely did that. Very cool. So, folks, bit.ly/autoNgage. I'll just put this in here as a response to what Bob just said, and everybody will get that because I will make it public. Just click on that or copy and paste it. It will take you to the page where you can buy this. There's a counter on the page. This will be available for these prices as long as that counter is going. Phil, there is a replay. We just recorded this, so once we wrap this up, I have to reformat the file and put it up on their server and all that stuff. That generally takes, I mean, it's 4 o'clock where I am Friday, so I'll probably knock off after this. Sometime tomorrow it will be up. I will remail everybody. You'll see the same page that you're looking at with, well, the same sales page with the replay actually on there. David, launching to the public, probably looking in a couple of weeks, something on that order. Just hit me up and we'll talk about details. I have a few things that I need to do before I do that. Guys, any other questions while you've got Mike on here? Especially Mike, because he knows all about this baby. In anything that you wished we would have answered? I think we're good to go. Okay. So I will wrap up the replay. I will mail this back out to everyone, and the replay, I'll also put the replay in the members area so you can refer to it. And cool. When you buy, guys, let me just leave you with this. And most of you all bought stuff from us before, you get 2 emails of importance. You get a bunch of emails, but you get 2 of importance. One is from our members area, and that has the login, and it has your username and password. Use that to log in. Now, some people get real confused about where to log in. If you go to this page, AutoConnect, okay, if you're on the auto closing page, the login is right down here at the bottom. Okay? If you go to the AutoConnect page, similarly, the login is right down here at the bottom. Okay, so that's how you actually get to the where to log in page. You log in with your username and password. You will also need a license. The license gets sent to your email account associated with your PayPal account. Now, it's just life in the big city. Sometimes that gets caught up in your, like if you got Yahoo or Gmail or whatever, that gets caught up in your spam filter. And if it does, we have support ticket system. Just send us a support ticket. Give us your PayPal information. What is really helpful is your JVZoo transaction ID. Give us that number or give us your PayPal email address. We will look it up and somebody on our team will send that license back to you. Okay? Thank you so much for being on here. Phil, thank you. Yeah, you have a great weekend also, and we'll see y'all soon.
Yeah, have a great weekend. Enjoy the software. Thanks a lot.